afternoon, everyone. Ron here. I'm out this evening. I'm going to give you a review of my 1 year or so ownership of the DJI Mini 2, and it's become an essential part of my content. Whenever possible, I take my drone with me, and I like to capture footage, and I also like to fly it. So here it is, the DJI Mini 2. Now, since then, the DJI Mini 3 Pro has come out, and the DJI Classic 3, I believe is what it's called, has been released as well. For my needs, I find that the DJI Mini 2 serves its purpose. It's, it's lightweight. It's been to one country already, Panama, and if you watch any of my previous videos, this machine has performed admirably. Now, in this review, I'm going to talk about some pros and cons with the drone, things that could have been added to the drone but are not there as compared to the more newer drones. But I find that for the price point of about $450 just for the drone itself, if you want to get the Fly More kit, you're going to pay about approximately $100 more for that. The Fly More kit includes the RC, that is the remote controller, and the battery hub or charger, which contains 3 batteries, and it's also a charging hub as well for external devices such as your iPhone, your Android device. But I find for the price point, it is a very good deal. In my view, the DJI Mini 2 is the best starter drone that one could get. I would not settle for these cheap $99 drones you see advertised on YouTube all the time. Those are toys. This here, my folks, is the real deal. Let's talk more about the DJI Mini 2. What I like about this is that it takes beautiful 4K 30 frames per second footage. But it's lightweight, even with the battery inserted. It's about 249 grams. Now, the one thing that this drone does not have that the pricier drones do have are the obstacle avoidance systems on the top, on the sides. It does have an obstacle avoidance sensor on the bottom of the drone. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're a safe and careful drone pilot, and if you don't take unnecessary risks, then you will avoid obstacles. Okay, so let's unpack this and let me show you what I got here. Okay. Now, right now, I do have a 128 gigabyte micro SD card inserted in the back here. I'm going to insert a battery. And it goes in only one way, so you can't mess it up. And there it is. Now, with the controller, you have 2 joysticks on the side. I pull those off and insert them. They screw right in. With the Fly More kit, you get an extra set of joysticks in case you lose them. Lift that up, pull the cable off the left-hand side, and grab your phone, and you'll see that there are 2 slots right here that your phone fits into. And you pull that up, and you connect your cable on the side there. And your controller is all set up. The next step is to power on the controller and the phone. So I'm going to power on the controller by pressing the button right here, holding it down. Okay, the controller is powered on. Next, I'll power on the drone. There's a button right here, the power button. Let's press that in. And you will see the drone click, and it will go into a calibration stage. Okay, I'm going to aim it that way, actually away from me. And on the phone, you can see here that the DJI Fly app has been invoked. I'm going to click on the blue button, lower right hand corner. And there we have it.
Takeoff. The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map. Landing.
If you want to take your drone footage to the next level, I highly recommend getting yourself a set of ND filters. Now, the ones that I use are called Skyreet. I got them off of Amazon.com. And what comes in this, there are 6 of them here. And if you don't know what an ND filter is, they are basically sunglasses for your drone. And they fit over the drone lens. And the higher the ND number, the darker the lens. Now, with this kit, you will get an ND8, ND16, ND32, ND64. You also get a UV filter and what is called a CPL filter. A CPL filter is a filter that one would use, say, during sunrise, sunsets, or when you want to eliminate the glare when you're flying over, say, water or shiny or glassy surfaces. That CPL filter comes in very handy. Almost always I will affix an ND filter on my drone lens depending on the day. Now right now it's approximately, it's 1:45 p.m. It's a golden afternoon, not a cloud in the sky. And so what I would use on my drone right now, I would put either an ND8 or an ND16. So I'm going to put an ND8 on the drone lens here. And it's very difficult to do in front of the camera like this. So I'm going to go and get it put on here right now. I'll need both my hands. Got it, first time. So there it is. I have an ND8 on Icarus. That's the name of my drone. Now the DJI Mini 2 takes excellent photographs, excellent video footage up to 4K 30 frames per second. I usually almost always shoot video at 4K 24 frames per second, on occasion 30 frames per second, but in general 4K 24 frames per second. The battery life in the drone, in my experience, I usually fly it in the city mode, sometimes in the normal mode. I will get about just under 30 minutes. Now, if you're flying in windy conditions and you're flying against the wind, you're going to consume more of your battery because the drone is going to struggle to get back home. What I like about this drone also is that it has a return to home feature. So before I take off, I'll do my pre-flight checks, which really consist of just checking to make sure that the propellers on the drone are not damaged or chipped and that they're on there tightly. And I'll usually check that at home. If you buy the DJI Mini 2 Fly More kit, you get all the hardware that you'll need to replace the propellers. You will even get spare propellers and a little jeweler's screwdriver to remove them and put them on. And I'll check the motors and make sure there's no debris inside. I do the best I can as far as not taking off in sandy and gravel type conditions, that is landing on the ground. I've done that before in the beginning. I've learned it's best to take off from a surface like a picnic table or a flat rock, or even buy yourself one of those drone landing pads. I do have one. I haven't used it yet, but I do have one, and I got that off Amazon. I think it cost maybe 14 bucks, but it's a nice circular, large drone landing pad. Now, before you take off, make sure that you acquire good satellites and that you hear the drone tell you, or the Fly app tell you, your home point has been set. And the reason why is because if you should lose line of sight on your drone, and it's very easy to do, you can bring it back. Just press return to home, and your drone will come back very close to where you launched it from. Or if you can use the navigation tool that's on the DJI Fly app, that will take you or bring you right back to where you are, that is home. I find that the GPS lock on the drone is phenomenal. It is really good. And for the price point, this, in my view, is one of the best starter drones that one could purchase. I'm resisting purchasing the newer DJI Mini 3 Pro and even the DJI Mavic Classic 3, which has a larger sensor. They both have the avoidance sensors on the top and the sides. This one, the DJI Mini 2, only has avoidance sensors on the bottom. Now, when I'm flying it, I don't take any unnecessary risks. I did it at the beginning and almost lost the drone, but I try to stay away from obstacles. Now, about 4 months ago, I was flying in a wooded area. I wanted to take a chance of flying between some trees on both sides of a river, and things were getting pretty tight. And as I was going in, a stiff wind came through, and it blew the drone to the left, and it hit a branch. And the drone sort of did this, and it came down, but it came down, and the obstacle avoidance sensor on the bottom stopped it from going into the ground, or into the water actually, and it came back up again. So I was lucky. So I'm always mindful that this particular drone, the DJI Mini 2, does not have obstacle avoidance sensors on the sides or on the top. So I simply avoid obstacles. In my experience, practice, practice, practice as often as you can. And the more you practice, that muscle memory will kick in with regards to using the joysticks and bringing your drone up, left, right, yawing it, and bringing it down. And it is just a fun hobby to have. I don't fly Icarus as often as I would like to, but whenever I take it out of its bag and put it together and I launch it, I just feel cathartic. Would I recommend this drone? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not slamming those who have the DJI Mini 3 Pro or the newer Mavic 3 Classic. Those are great drones. I'm a relatively new drone pilot, and I've only owned this for about 8 months, so I just can't justify purchasing another drone right now. Even though they're better as far as the obstacle avoidance on those drones and a larger sensor, which means you can take really better footage and also capture night footage, say in lit up cities. But for now, this does everything that I needed to do right now. Now, if I were to get into doing videos, say for real estate or mapping, then I would consider getting a pricier drone with all those features. But I don't see myself doing that. I use my drone mostly for recreational purposes. Here in the United States, it is against the law to fly drones in our national parks. State parks are okay, but national parks, no. So if you watch any of my videos of my recent road trip, and I never launched my drone in any of those national parks. I obey the rules. On occasion, I might break the speed limit on the highways, but when it comes to flying my drones in national parks, I won't do that. Neither will I fly in areas where there are lots of people, because I want to respect their rights to privacy, and I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. Now today, I'm in a park where it's about 45 degrees, maybe 50, and there might be two people out here, and they both have their pets out here running in this nice wide field. Behind me is the Rappahannock River. So I'm going to launch this and take it up and capture some video footage and then call today. But I would highly recommend the DJI Mini 2 as a great starter drone. You guys take care.